Hey YouTube. Okay, so I got a second video we're going to make today, and it's because in my day of my normal beekeeping, I went straight back and did this one thing, and I think it's important to start out the season knowing how to manage your bees using an observation hive. So last year, I built an observation hive with some plans that I bought off the internet, and I will put the link to those plans that I purchased off the internet in the description below. But I bought these plans and made my own using my own lumber, my own tools. Obviously, if you're not very good at woodworking, or you don't want to spend the time to do it, or you want a very, very nice one that might be furniture quality to put inside your house, consider purchasing one from the gentleman that makes these. They are kind of expensive. They're a little bit heavy, so they're not very inexpensive to ship. But the quality and what you can do with an observation hive is worth understanding. Okay, so let's take a trip through my observation hive and let me tell you how I use it to keep in touch with where my bees are locally, which is honestly the purpose of creating this channel, is to help share information about local bees here in Jacksonville, Florida in Zone 9A. Let me show you the external part of the hive. Okay, so this is the actual through hole that comes outside of my barn shed here. So basically, I don't have this hive inside of my house. It's inside of my kind of workshop, my barn. And I got a little piece of PVC coming out and some pressure treated lumber just as an entrance. And if you see here, all last year, this is all propolis. I know that looks like it's dysentery, but it's not. It's actually propolis all over here and dripping down on the hive. But these bees come and go. Right now, if you kind of watch the couple, they're all going in here with yellow pollen baskets on their legs. It's great to see. And it looks like we got some bees out here on the edge that need to be hauled off. Through hole on the outside in an area, you know, you could put the entrance up much higher if you wanted. If you wanted the flyway to be higher, this is not a heavy trafficked area, so I just kind of put it at eye height so I can kind of keep an eye on it a little bit more. But where you place the exit has a little bit to do with how you mount it on the inside. And let me show you the hive on the inside and talk a little bit about how I use it to manage my bees. Let's go on a trip. Okay, so we're on the inside of the barn now, and what I want you to see is this is a window pane style observation hive. And here's the through hole. It's a PVC pipe that comes on the outside. It comes in and it makes a 90-degree turn in this little wooden block that acts as the support. There's two supports, a support here and a support up top that's very structural. The bees, that is actually a slot that actually I can put in to keep the bees from coming in and out while I'm managing the hive, and I had just had that in there a few minutes ago. I've got the political sign plastic that I've painted black here for some cover screens. And here we go. This is a 6-frame observation hive, 2 deep, 3 high. And one of the most important things I'm watching this time of year is how fast the bees are growing and consuming their stored honey. I do have a sugar water jar on up here, but they are not taking very much of it, not nearly as much as they are out in the apiary. But that is there to supplement feed them in case they get all the way through this honey. And if you see, I've got some dotted outlines here. This is all the capped honey they have on this specific frame. And we got a full capped brood frames on this side. And here I've highlighted in some dry erase marker where the drone brood is. I like to put these circles on here because I can actually keep track over time, and I can actually, like, you know, say this is on 2/18. That was the boundary of the drone. And next time I come in here, I can see, hey, it grew, it shrunk, it's changed, it's hatched out, or whatever. You can see the circles I've been drawing up here about where the capped honey was. On the other side, I just pivot it on around and take the cover off, and let me move out of the way. And you can see just as many bees, but on this side I've got some beetle traps and some extended release oxalic acid strips. There'll probably be another subject video for these oxalic acid strips. The recipe is off of Randy Oliver's website. but he and I differ a little bit on the media to put them in. I prefer chipboard hanging down between the frames. He seems to prefer the Swedish sponges on top of the frames. The reason I don't like things on top of the frames is because working the hives with those sponges on is much more difficult than having these hanging down across the brood frames. As far as the efficacy goes, these strips work very, very well. I used to use shop towels. I've evolved into using chipboard strips. Probably have that in another video in the future. My mite problems have pretty much disappeared since I've been using extended release. I do have them, they are there, but they do not skyrocket at all. And these are just little oil beetle traps here that are the refillable style. But up again here, look, this is the honey I wanted to keep an eye on in the spring. They're getting through all of this honey, which is a sign of starvation once that is all gone with this many bees. And that's how beekeepers lose their bees in the spring. Rapid buildup with capped brood. Each one of these full frames of capped brood will turn into 3 frames of bees. And you can see there's a lot of capped brood in this observation hive and not enough food to feed them, which is why the supplement is on there. I can start to see some nectar starting to be backfilled in here. Don't know if that's natural nectar or from the sugar water jar, but it is obviously something to keep an eye on. And also, the next thing I'm going to be watching is swarm preparation in this hive. Now, I do have a clipped queen in here, so she is not going to be able to fly away. More than likely, I will find a ball of bees out on the ground one morning when they try to swarm. But the swarm cell preparation and the timing of that is something that I want to key in on to start to take notes on the flowers, the blooms, and the timing of the swarm. Here in Jacksonville, I keep track of swarms every year over the last 10 years or so, and there is a peak, when I say a peak, over that time span, March 5th to March 15th is the peak of all swarms. I've got a deviation all the way down to early swarms, February 7th to February 10th, and the other deviation on the swarms is late March. And obviously you can get a stray one here and there due to a lot of other reasons. But the peak natural tendency to swarm in zone 9A where I live is right around that second week of March. So here we are March 18th. These hives are probably going to be starting to prep for swarms very, very quickly. So a few other things I just want to show you about this hive and how I use it to manage. The waggle dance is something I love to watch in an observation hive. There's a lot of information on the internet on how to interpret a waggle dance with the direction and the veracity of their dance and the length before they come back around. I keep a little map right next to my observation hive with radius circles drawn on it from where this observation hive is, and I orient myself to the sun and I try to figure out where the food sources that they're advertising are. It's kind of a fun little game I play. I haven't actually successfully gotten out of my car or my bike and found the source with the pollen color based on the dance, but I think with a little bit more time and a little bit more studying, I will start to figure it out. I do keep track of pollen colors. I am trying to map my local pollen colors so I know exactly which ones are which based on the time of year. It is a little bit of a local situation there also, you know, because you can have pollen colors from different regions from the exact same tree that just are slightly different. So it's another kind of a local experiment to keep track of. But some of them are very easy to know. The blackberry pollen is pretty unique. Some of the maple pollens are pretty unique. I had one this winter that was stumping me, but I think it ended up being the rosemary pollen they were bringing in early. I found a patch that they were bringing in from. So this is how I use my observation hive. I keep track of my bees. I watch the brood build up. I watch and track the stores and how they are being consumed, getting ready for swarm preparation, and general health and the pollen sources that they're bringing in is what I like to do. So I highly recommend that if you can afford one or build one or have space for an observation hive in your apiary, it's great to keep track of your bees, and I think every beekeeper should aspire to have one. Let me know what you know in the comments below. Let me know what you think of my observation hive. And if you're interested in building this one, check out the description below for the gentleman that I bought these plans off of. Have a great day.